What's going on, everybody? This is Sergey from MMA Soap Opera. Before we start this video, I would like to all wish a happy new year. I wish you all the luck and all the success for 2025. Stay healthy, stay motivated, go at it. Today, we're gonna be talking about the very first major card of 2025, which is of course UFC 311. And oh boy, this card looks like an absolute banger of the start of the year. 2 fights for the belt at the same evening, as well as having plenty of other bangers top to bottom on this card. So let's do a little preview and check it out right now. Okay, so obviously 2 main fights of the evening are gonna be Islam Makhachev, who's gonna go against Arman Tsarukyan, as well as Merab Dvalishvili, who will face Umar Nurmagomedov. Both of these fights are absolute bangers. First of all, I'm super happy for the team of Islam Makhachev that the 2 guys from the same team are gonna be fighting for the belt at the same evening. I bet that that's a massive honor for them. Like, the consistent output of Javier Mendez and his team and the amount of champions that they've been able to produce is just outstanding. So good for Islam Makhachev and Umar Nurmagomedov for fighting for a belt at the same evening, but they have tough challenges in front of them. Both of the guys. If we look at Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan, I think that this is the most competitive match that Islam Makhachev can face in the division right now. Arman Tsarukyan did fantastic in his UFC debut, which was against Islam Makhachev, and I think that ever since that fight he grew immensely. He became so much better in all the aspects of the MMA, and the confidence that that man has right now is otherworldly. If we look at the top 10 of lightweight, I think that Arman Tsarukyan and his style of wrestling is probably the closest to what Islam Makhachev has, and therefore it's probably gonna be the most effective against him, or at least is gonna be the best aware of how to defend Islam Makhachev. I feel like historically speaking, the Dagestani style of wrestling has been a little bit more successful than the US style of wrestling, and like if you combine those wrestling skills that Arman Tsarukyan has with the constant pressure that he's putting on his opponents, and also considering just how much more experience did Arman get in the past couple years, I think that he's gonna put one hell of a fight on Islam. But man, of course, Islam Makhachev, there's a reason why that guy is considered a pound-for-pound #1 fighter. Obviously, Dana would disagree, but who cares?
John Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world and the greatest fighter ever. Period.
Islam is just an absolute mastermind in the cage. He's very good at the strategy and he's able to change his tactics and approach in the middle of the fight, basically. There's an interview with Javier Mendez, I think from the last year, where he's talking about Islam Makhachev and his preparation for, I think it was the Oliveira fight. And according to him, Islam Makhachev completely changed his tactics as he was walking out to the ring. So I think that that just speaks about the versatility of Islam Makhachev, his intelligence, his experience, and just ability to execute and make changes on the fly. And never mind the super high skill set that the guy obviously has. So yeah, this is gonna be an absolute banger of the fight. I can't wait for that. I think this is gonna be the hardest push for Islam Makhachev ever since he fought Volkanovski the first time, basically. Alright, Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I gotta be honest, Umar basically became one of my favorite characters in the UFC. I just love his personality. I think that he's goofy as hell. And I think that this little beef that he has with Umar is maybe a little bit constructed. Ever since he fought Peter Yan, I felt like creating this hype, this narrative of this massive beef is sort of helping him to maybe get, I don't know, extra pushed and extra motivated for the fight. And I don't know, I feel like he's just being a little bit of a drama queen. He's taking words of Umar Nurmagomedov a little bit too personally, in my opinion. Like, what did Umar said? He basically saying that Merab is trying to avoid him. But on the other hand, Merab Dvalishvili sort of has a good point that Umar Nurmagomedov basically fought only one top 10 fighter. I think that's a really good point, but on the other hand, obviously Nurmagomedov is the toughest challenge for literally anyone in top 15. So yeah, I kinda see the point on both sides. I think it's just hilarious. And yeah, if Merab Dvalishvili is gonna be able to pull this off, I think that we're just gonna have to start considering him as possibly one of the best in this division's history. Like, the dude has been putting out some consistent performances and he's been beating some great guys. Obviously, notably last time it was Sean O'Malley, before that it was Henry Cejudo, before that it was Peter Yan. Dude, like, those are 3 serious names in the division. So yeah, kudos to him, massive respect. I know that some people find his style a little bit too boring, but I just think that it's exceptional. The pressure that he's putting on his opponents is just absolutely relentless. And Umar Nurmagomedov, man, he's very similar to Islam Makhachev in a lot of aspects. I feel like he's a little bit more striking heavy than Islam is, but obviously the wrestling prowess of Nurmagomedov is absolute top level, even in this weight class where you have you know, an Olympic gold medalist in Henry Cejudo. So yeah, man, this is almost like the matchup of unstoppable force versus immovable object. I can't wait to see this fight, and I think that the lead up to the fight is gonna be absolutely hilarious. Like the fight week and all the press conferences and interviews. Man, I can't wait. Alright, then of course the rest of the card is gonna be an absolute banger after the banger. But Dariush is coming back after that fairly embarrassing loss to Charles Oliveira, and he's gonna be fighting Renato Money Moicano. So the reason why I'm saying that the loss to Charles Oliveira was embarrassing, not because he lost to Charles Oliveira. Of course, Charles Oliveira is a high, absolute top level fighter. But I think that it has a little bit more to do with the actual performance. Everyone was expecting so much from him. He was this close to getting title fight. Like a lot of people were saying that he would be the one to dethrone Islam Makhachev. So yeah, and he just got destroyed by Oliveira. So I don't know, we'll see. I think it highly depends on the mental state of Dariush, how he's gonna be prepared, where he's gonna be with his mindset. And Renato Moicano, dude, this guy is an absolute ball of energy. Love him on the microphone. I think that he's funny as hell. So much personality, not only outside of the octagon, but in the octagon as well. Like the guy has been able to pull off a bunch of really good upsets in his past fights. Like the fight against Benoit Saint-Denis, Renato put some serious damage on him. Then of course the fight against Jalen Turner on UFC 300, like to me that was a massive upset. Like he was getting seriously hurt, and I think that at the end of the first round the fight was this close to being stopped. But somehow he got in the second round and got the TKO, like crazy stuff. So yeah, I have to make sure to not underestimate Moicano anymore. And considering the momentum that he has right now, I actually think that he's gonna be able to defeat Dariush. Okay, then we have another banger on the main card. Dude, Jiří Prochazka, that's how you pronounce his name, against Jamal Hill. I don't know, man, what Jamal is doing right now. Like, it really seems like he's trying to make sure that he's gonna embarrass himself every single time the camera is pointed at him. Obviously, he's in absolute denial of the loss against Alex Pereira. Then in December, there was this video where Jamal Hill went to Alex Pereira in the gym. Alex Pereira threw gloves at him and said, hey, let's settle it. He said, no, I'm gonna only fight you in the ring, and we have to get paid for that. Like, listen, if he would just shut up and focus on Jiří Prochazka instead. I know that a lot of people laughed at him that he didn't accept the challenge from Alex Pereira, but on the other hand, like listen, the man has a fight schedule. It's probably a #1 contender match as well. So going in that ring with Alex Pereira and probably get slept again would not be good for him. And Jiří Prochazka, this is one of my absolute favorite fighters on the UFC roster. Me being partially Czech, I'm rooting for him, and I love to watch his fights because his unorthodox style and just crazy personality is just something to behold. But I'm very curious to see where exactly Jiří is right now, because the dude has obvious holes in his defense. He's getting hit way too much, and that's leading to him getting knocked out. So we'll see if he's gonna do anything about that, but he's the kind of fighter who doesn't really have a tactics at all. He's just flowing and he's just doing whatever feels the best in the moment. You know, the charging of the right hand. He actually has a lot in common with Tony Ferguson and his like throwing sand in the eyes. Yeah, man, we'll see. This is gonna be super interesting. If I would have to make a prediction, I would probably choose both of them to lose, but that's obviously not possible. But yeah, man, I think that this is gonna be super fun. Yeah, and then the last fight on the main card is gonna be Kevin Holland versus RDR, Renee de Ridder. That is gonna be his second fight in the UFC. I think that in the summer of 2024, he won against Gerald Meerschaert. And if I remember correctly, he got tested in this fight, no? So yeah, we'll see. It seems like he's a striker as well, which is a really good match for Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, also one of my absolute favorites. It's his personality, man. Like the trash talk, and every single time he's on microphone, I'm having a blast. If he would just focus a little bit more, I think that the dude has a potential to get himself in like the top 5 even. So we'll see where he is and how seriously he's taking this fight. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Then the prelims, man, I'm not gonna go through every single fight in here, but there's a bunch of high prospects. For example, Peyton Talbot. I really wish that he would fight a little bit more often. The dude has like this anti-hero type of energy around him, almost like some sort of an anime character. Then Johnny Walker is coming back after having his hype train derailed like for the 4th time. We'll see where that guy is. Jailton Almeida was gonna go against Sergey Spivak. That could be a badass fight. I'm really curious to see if Almeida got a little bit better in the striking department. He's like one of those super one-dimensional fighters. So I really hope that we're gonna see some improvements. And yeah, man, then we're also gonna see Cedric Dumas, Grant Dawson, Tagir Ulanbekov. Dude, that's a really great early prelims and prelims. So yeah, man, what an absolute great start of 2025, man. Like the main card is absolutely stacked. The prelims are fantastic. Early prelims have great fights as well. So yeah, I can't wait. Also, because of the time difference, I live in Sweden. I usually wake up on Sundays around 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's about the time when the events actually end. So I'm waking up, I'm making myself a nice cup of coffee, and I'm just watching all the fights. Why I'm saying that? Well, it's because on the Sunday, the January 19th, it's gonna be my birthday. So I really hope that this card is gonna deliver. That would be a great birthday present. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit like, but also don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. What do you think about this card? Do you have any predictions? Make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. I'm gonna make sure to reply all of them. Alright, once again, thank you very much for watching. This was Sergey from MMA Soap Opera, cause that's what it is.